Well, we certainly believe, John, that they have achieved most of their military objectives without question. I mean, they have decimated Hamas's leadership at various levels, top levels all the way down to more tactical leaders. They have certainly taken away an awful lot of capability by Hamas from a military perspective, destroying tunnels, getting after their resources and weapons caches. But look, Hamas still exists as a military fighting unit. There's no question about that. They still face legitimate threats from Hamas, and they are still going after them militarily. We're going to continue to make sure they got the tools to do that as well. But as you just saw in the previous report, there have been way too many civilian casualties, too many innocent people caught up in the crossfire because of the violence, because of the combat. Gaza is still a combat zone. And what we're trying to do here at the White House is work feverishly to get this ceasefire deal in place so we can get at the very least 6 weeks of calm and a chance to get the most at-risk hostages out. Now, not that they're not all at risk, they are, but I'm talking about the women and the elderly, the sick and the injured. Get them home to their families where they belong. And that's why we're in Doha right now, and that's why we're working so hard on this. Well, I'll let Israel speak to their military objectives and their military operations. They would probably tell you there are still active Hamas military units, active Hamas leaders that they want to go after. And again, they have a right to defend themselves against what is still a very viable threat to the Israeli people. What we're urging is that all sides come to the table, negotiate the implementing details of this deal. Let's get it in place so we can get that ceasefire in place and maybe work towards an end to this conflict in general, because that's really the best outcome for the people of Gaza, where it's not a combat zone. I'll just tell you, because I don't want to negotiate in public, John. I'll just tell you that both sides need to show compromise. Both sides need to show some leadership here. We are now talking about the implementing details of the deal itself, the smaller gaps that we absolutely believe can be narrowed in terms of how the deal is executed. It's not about a debate in Doha today about the deal itself. The structure of it. It's now about implementing. And sometimes, when you get to the end of a negotiation and you're talking about those kinds of details, that's when it gets the hardest and the most gritty. So hopefully we'll make some progress here in the coming hours and days. I just don't know where it's going to go. But both sides, it's really important that both sides be willing to compromise and show some leadership and get to this ceasefire. I don't know the answer to that question. We're watching it real close, as you might expect, and we've got certainly additional military capabilities in the region to defend ourselves, our troops, our facilities, and Israel itself if it comes to that. Hopefully it won't come to that. We have to assume, and the information that we have tells us, that Iran has not moved off its threat to launch some kind of an attack on Israel, perhaps even using their proxies as well, like Hezbollah or the Houthis. So our assumption is that their thinking is still in that vein, that they're going to do something, and it could happen, in coming days. It could come nearly at any time now. So we're watching it real closely. We're going to make sure we're ready, and we are. But again, hopefully it doesn't come to that, John.